Hi, everyone, and I am coming in to give you a bonus episode for February. This is again from Next Take Podcast. This month, we did Black History Month, our second annual series of Black History. This episode you're getting is the very first episode that we did in the series, and that is for Black Panther uh, or the Black Panthers. I did it too. Damn. Black Panthers. And you'll be getting a about 15 or so minute clip of that. If you want to hear the full episode, you can do so. There's a link to that in the show notes. We also did Barack Obama. That's also in the show notes. We did, I can't remember. Oh, we did the true um, life people behind Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben. That too will be in the show notes. And then we ended it off with Juneteenth. And that too will be in the show notes. Everything will be there if you're interested in listening to that, as well as always, if you want to follow us, subscribe to the podcast, there will be a link in that as well. But without further ado, I will transition you now into a clip of the Black Panthers. Bye, everybody.
What's up, everyone? This is the Next Tape Podcast, episode 72 with Mikkel
And Tanika.
where we have conversations on different topics. So today we're having a special Black History Month episode based on Black Panther. If you didn't check with us last year, we did a whole entire series of Black History Month. You guys can check that out last year. You can scroll down way down and just see those episodes. Is that right, Tanika?
Yep. Yep, that is what we did. I think we talked about like inventors, Black inventors. We talked about the civil rights movement, the leaders of the civil rights movement, the unfortunate tragedy, but that did also help shape the civil rights movement. We had many different topics. Talked music, Black people in music as well. So we talked about a lot of different things. So we're going to be kind of following that kind of same thing, talking about different topics of Black History Month.
Right.
And we're starting that off with the Black Panthers. So that's what we're doing.
All right.
All right.
Let's begin this episode.
All right. So, Black Panther Party, which is an African American revolutionary party, was founded in 1966 in Oakland, California, by Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale. The party's original purpose was to patrol African American neighborhoods to protect residents from acts of police brutality. The Panthers eventually developed into a Marxist, I think is the right word here, revolutionary group that called the Arming of All African Americans. So everyone has the right to bear arms. I guess that's kind of what they're going for, which, the exception of the African Americans from the draft and from all sanctions of so-called white America, the release of all African Americans from jail, and the payment of compensation to African Americans for centuries of exploitation by white Americans. At its peak in the late 1960s, Panther membership exceeded 2,000. And the organization operated chapters in several major American cities. So landmark U.S. Supreme Court ruling in Brown versus Board of Education of Topeka, which was in 1954, African Americans living in cities throughout North America continued to suffer economic and social inequality, Poverty and reduced public services characterize these urban centers where residents were subject to poor living conditions, joblessness, chronic health problems, violence, and limited means to change their circumstances.
Mm,
That's where the systematic stuff kind of comes in, and I think is something um, many neighborhoods, especially in the States, are still dealing with today.
mm,
Such conditions contributed to urban uprisings in the 1960s, such as those in the Watts district of Los Angeles in 1965. Uprisings in the 1960s and to the increased use of police violence as a measure to impose order on cities throughout North America. It was in this context and in the wake of the assassination of Malcolm X in 1965. If you want to know more information on Malcolm X, Mikkel actually talked about him last year,
yep,
right?
yes, we did.
Mm-hmm.
Check it out.
Yeah. The Merritt Junior College students, Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale, founded the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense on October 15th, 1966, in West Oakland, officially Western Oakland, a district of the city of Oakland, California. Shortening its name to the Black Panther Party, the organization immediately sought to set itself apart from African American cultural nationalist organizations such as the Universal Negro Improvement Association and the Nation of Islam, to which it was commonly compared. Although the groups shared certain philosophical, positions and tactical features, the the Black Panther Party and cultural nationalists differed on a number of basic
Mhm,
points. For instance, whereas African American cultural nationalists generally regarded all white people as oppressors, the Black Panther Party distinguished between racist and non-racist whites and allied themselves with progressive members of the latter group, which is very true. Like, if I'm thinking right now of a picture that I saw of two people who were in the Black Panthers, and they kind of did like the picture then, and then they kind of did a picture, when they
mm,
were much older. One was a Black woman, one was a white woman. So I thought that was always kind of great, obviously. Um, Also, whereas cultural nationalists generally viewed all African Americans as oppressed, the Black Panther Party believed that African American capitalists and elites could and typically did exploit and oppress others, particularly the African American working class,
right.
which is sad but true.
Mhm,
Perhaps most importantly, whereas cultural nationalists placed considerable emphasis on symbolic systems such as language and imagery as the means to liberate African Americans, the Black Panther Party believed that such systems, though important, are ineffective in bringing about liberation. It considered symbols as woefully inaccurate to, okay, this is a word that's going to be tough, ameliorate, I believe, ameliorate the unjust material conditions such as a joblessness created by capitalism. From the outset, the Black Panther Party outlined a 10-point program, not unlike those of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and Nation of Islam, to initiate national African American community survival projects and to forge alliances with progressive white radicals and other organizations of people of color. A number of positions outlined in the 10-point program address the principal stance of the Black Panther Party. Economic exploitation is at the root of all oppression in the United States and abroad, and the abolition of capitalism is a precondition of social justice. In the 1960s, this socialist economic outlook, informed by Marxist political philosophy, resonated with other social movements in the United States and in other parts of the world. Therefore, even as the Black Panther Party found allies both within and beyond the borders of North America,
Mm.
the organization also found itself squarely in the crosshairs of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, and its counterintelligence program, COINTELPRO. Never heard of it. In fact, in 1969, FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover, never heard of him, considered the Black Panther Party the greatest threat to national security. J. Edgar Hoover sucks. We all know this already. But
Mm.
anyways, the Black Panther Party came into the national spotlight in May 1967 when a small group of its members, led by its chair, Seal, marched fully armed into the California state legislature in Sacramento. Emboldened by the view that African Americans had a constitutional right to bear arms, of course they do, based on the Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, the Black Panther Party marched on the body as a protest against the pending Mulford Act. The Black Panther Party viewed legislation, a gun control bill, by the way, as a political maneuver to thwart the organization's effort to combat police brutality in the Oakland community, which, I mean, I don't know how I feel. Maybe at the time that could have been what the issue, what the idea was. Whatever your views are on gun control,
Mm.
I'm of the, I don't know why anyone needs to bear the rights of arms, but I'm a Canadian, so sorry. But it's just guns do more problems than good. So anyway, um, the images of gun-toting Black Panthers entering the Capitol were supplemented later that year with news of Newton's arrest after a shootout with police in which an officer was killed. Ooh. With this newfound publicity, the Black Panther Party grew from an Oakland-based organization into an international one with chapters in 48 states in North America and support groups in Japan, China,
Mm.
France, England, Germany, Sweden, Mozambique, never heard of that, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Uruguay, and elsewhere. Like they spread.
Wow,
Yeah, I never
that's
knew that.
crazy. The message spread.
Not even just so much like the message spread, but then they also have the organizations in all these different countries, which I did not know.
This is like before the internet. Like, how did
Yeah,
like did
yeah.
they just like you know
I
airplane
don't,
through
I don't
airplane? Like,
know.
yeah,
I really, well, I mean, there's some newspapers and stuff like that, right?
yeah, that too.
Um, and
But yeah, true.
people this as I still do, travel wherever the news is, right?
Mm.
Um, but this is why, like, this is kind of a little bit off topic, kind of, but in that fact of this is before the internet, this is before, whatever. I remember, I don't know if you've seen this, but I've seen this on Facebook where they kind of talk about the difference between Taylor Swift and Michael Jackson in terms of the crowd that they can create at their
Yes, yes,
concerts.
yeah.
And what people don't realize is if I always ask the question, and I think everyone should, and this is not to say anything against Taylor Swift, but would Taylor Swift have the fandom that she currently has if she came from a time that Michael Jackson came from? That man did what he did, filled up arenas the way he did
Hmm.
without the internet being what it is, without Spotify, without all of these different things, not TikTok, you know, he became popular during a time where that was just non-existent.
I
Taylor Swift, on the other hand, has that advantage of having the internet
hmm
and her music spreading in the way it does. Because don't forget, Michael Jackson's spread wasn't just in North America. That man
Mhm.
was he's still loved in Japan.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Like back in the 60s, 70s, 80s,
yeah.
it just wasn't that's nuts.
Hmm.
So it's kind of what you're saying. It's like, how does that kind of spread like that without the internet? Because now we have
Yeah,
social media. Now we have
yeah,
the internet.
yeah.
That wasn't a thing then.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, like newspaper and possibly they traveled like the
Yeah.
original Black Panther probably traveled like worldwide to spread the
Yeah.
message to
Yeah.
reach people.
Which
Um
happens, obviously.
yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
And yeah, like if they if like not Facebook, but if like social media was there at its time, I think the Black Panther Party would be a lot bigger, in my opinion.
Of
I think.
course, but that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
How big they were, how big they did become
yeah,
without the internet.
yeah,
That's crazy. We have to kind of give them or give any person who can have that kind of reach without the internet
mhm,
their props because I think what people were kind of trying to say, but I mean, it's not fair because this is not what the times we're in. I